Hello everyone. Tonight we travel to the icy wilderness of Russia's Ural Mountains, where one of history's most chilling unsolved mysteries unfolded. In 1959, 9 young hikers embarked on a skiing expedition into a remote area known as Kolat-Syakhl, or the Mountain of the Dead. What was meant to be an adventure turned into a nightmare. Weeks later, their bodies were discovered under strange and disturbing circumstances, and to this day, no one can fully explain what happened to them. This is the story of the Dyatlov Pass Incident. The group was led by Igor Dyatlov, a 23-year-old engineering student, along with 8 other experienced hikers, most of them fellow students or recent graduates. They set out in late January of 1959 for a trek across the Ural Mountains. Their goal was to reach Otorten, a mountain north of their starting point. They were well prepared for the trip, carrying supplies, skis, tents, and survival equipment. These were not amateurs. They had handled difficult expeditions before, but this journey would be their last. On February 1st, the group pitched their tent on the slope of Kolat-Syakhl. For reasons that remain unclear, they camped in an exposed area rather than in the forest below, where conditions would have been safer. That night, something happened that forced them to flee their tent in a desperate rush. When searchers later found the campsite, the tent was still standing, but slashed open from the inside. Their belongings, boots, and winter clothing were left behind. It was as if the hikers had been terrified by something so urgent that they ran into the freezing night without even taking time to dress properly. Over the following weeks, search parties discovered the bodies scattered in the snow. 2 of the hikers were found near a tree at the edge of the forest, barefoot and dressed only in underwear. Nearby, branches were broken, suggesting they had climbed the tree in panic or to escape something. 3 more bodies, including Dyatlov's, were discovered between the tree and the tent, as if they had been trying to return. The remaining 4 were not found until months later, buried under snow in a ravine. It was the condition of the bodies that deepened the mystery. Some had severe injuries, including fractured skulls and broken ribs, yet no external wounds that could explain the force required to cause such trauma. One woman was missing her tongue, eyes, and parts of her face, as if removed after death. Others showed signs of radiation on their clothing. Despite the freezing temperatures, there were burns on some of their skin. The official Soviet investigation concluded that the hikers died due to a compelling natural force, but no further explanation was given. Theories began to emerge, each more bizarre than the last. One explanation suggested an avalanche. Perhaps the hikers heard the sound of shifting snow and cut open their tent in panic, fleeing downhill. But no signs of a significant avalanche were found, and the tent remained partially upright, which would not be the case if tons of snow had struck it. Another theory points to military involvement. The Ural Mountains were not far from secret Soviet testing grounds, and some suggest the hikers accidentally stumbled into an area where weapons experiments were being conducted. The burns, radiation, and strange injuries might point to a military accident. Perhaps they witnessed something they should not have seen, and their deaths were covered up. Then there is the theory of Some researchers argued that the wind moving around the mountain could have created low-frequency sound waves that induced panic and disorientation. In such a state, the hikers might have cut open their tent and fled without rational thought. But this does not fully explain the physical injuries some of them suffered. Other explanations reach into the realm of the supernatural. Some believe the hikers were attacked by a yeti or other unknown creature, pointing to the violent injuries and eyewitness accounts of large footprints found near the site. A few locals even claimed the hikers were victims of spirits or curses tied to the mountain, which the indigenous Mansi people considered sacred and dangerous. The missing tongue and eyes only fuel speculation of something sinister. Could scavenging animals have removed them after death, or was it something more deliberate? The radiation remains equally puzzling. Why would some of their clothes show traces of radioactive material? Some argue that one of the hikers worked at a secret facility and his clothing was already contaminated. Others claim it ties back to nuclear testing in the region. In 2019, Russian authorities reopened the investigation. After reviewing the evidence with modern technology, they officially concluded that a rare type of avalanche known as a slab avalanche was the most likely cause. This type of avalanche can occur without leaving obvious traces, and could have forced the hikers to flee their tent in panic. Injuries might have been caused by falling snow and ice. Yet, many experts remain unconvinced. If the slab avalanche theory is correct, why did the hikers scatter so far apart? Why were some of them missing soft tissue like eyes and a tongue? Why? The radiation. The Dyatlov Pass incident remains a mystery because no single explanation can account for all the strange details. It is a puzzle with missing pieces, a tragedy wrapped in speculation. For the families of the victims, the lack of answers is haunting. For researchers, it remains one of the most perplexing unsolved cases of the 20th century. To this day, Dyatlov Pass has become a place of legend. Adventurers visit the site, hoping to solve the riddle or simply to honor the hikers who lost their lives there. Books, documentaries, and films continue to revisit the case, each offering a new perspective. But no definitive truth. Perhaps the answers lie buried beneath the snow and ice, lost to time. Or perhaps the mystery is unsolvable, destined to remain one of history's great enigmas. What we do know is that 9 young lives ended in terror on that frozen mountain, leaving behind a chilling legacy that still captures the imagination of people around the world. Imagine the scene. The silent, snow-covered mountains under the night sky. A torn tent standing alone in the wind, and footprints leading away into darkness. Something happened. There's something so terrifying that even experienced hikers could not withstand it. That is the enduring mystery of the Dyatlov Pass incident.